Ladies and gents, welcome back. It's a miracle. It's a Monday blessing. We've got all three of us on the couch at once.
It doesn't really feel like a Monday. It's a Monday evening.
It's
Yeah,
on the evening.
I don't even know what it is.
I know. We haven't had a nighttime one in I reckon a whole last year.
Yeah,
It's been
not
longer.
Evening podcast.
This was like one of the
It's been
OG.
a long
We used to do OG back in the obviously evening, but
Yep.
we've matured from that. But next week we'll be in the morning. But yeah, it does feel weird.
My
Feels
question is, have we
later.
done one, all three of us, this year?
not in 2020. I don't think so.
Have we not done one?
Because I came back in January, right?
Wow.
I did a couple with you.
Yeah.
And because we've gotten we're doing odd weeks, it's just, I don't think so.
I don't think I've been on.
You got a real job.
Yeah, bro's
Yeah.
getting away.
I don't think I've been on myself for 2-3 months.
I don't reckon you've been on since Jan. And we're in the 4th month, so yeah.
And I've been trying to cover for you, but as everyone knows, it's not the same. It's not the same.
We're finally got all three of us. So chaos in shoes this week. Saying that, I was going to say, Prem now, I'm trying to keep it alive. But
No, it's so dead.
It's so dead,
It's
man.
so dead.
It's so dead.
The week that Liverpool dropped points, Arsenal dropped points. Manchester Derby doesn't deliver. We'll get into that first.
I was talking to my dad about this. I was just like, he was like, what's sort of going on with the Prem? And I was like, it's just so bad. Like they have to do the top of the league. That doesn't normally happen like this. Over the last 5-10 years, like it's been relatively. There's been a bit more release going on at this stage of the season.
At least, yeah.
But this relegation thing is like,
Southampton are gone. Already gone.
well, yeah, this is the earliest relegation ever. Yeah. And like I think this is the bigger problem is that like this gap between between like the championship teams essentially, the ones who are getting relegated, and the Prem teams, it's just like it's clearly getting too hard, like too big of a gap to bridge, because there's going to be 2 years in a row now where I'm going a little bit early, but it's going to be the 6 teams which have come up have all gone back down, and I don't know. I think they're going to have to try and address this somehow, because the Premier League is going to become the product of the Prem is like going to lose a lot of like
Credibility.
yeah, and just like enjoyment factor watching it if there's just no storylines anymore besides like Conference League and you know like Europa League. There is good mid-table battles, but like the main thing people are talking about is Spurs. Like Spurs being 15th is like the best talking point, and we're 31 games in the season, so it's like there's definitely a concern there. I think
That was I did the members video on that, and I was like, the reason it's not being the worst like is that midfield battle, but that's also negative because the Palaces, the West Hams, the Wolves now, Brentfords, they're all like in a league of their own.
Yeah.
So you've got this whole thing where 17 teams are just really good, competitive. They can win any week. Wolves can beat this team. They've beaten United. United beaten this team. Man City beat this team, but they lose to that. So everyone's all good there, but the bottom 3 are just nowhere near it. So a year like where Brentford could get relegated, like think of Bournemouth. They came up, were 6 years in, they got relegated. Brentford aren't going to go down now. We don't think in the next like 5 years. You can't see it happening. Manager's too good. Ownership's too good. I feel like that's a big thing. If you want to break in, you need incredibly smart owners.
that seems to be the trend.
That's
I think.
the trend. Brentford, Bournemouth, Palace, all these
But
teams. That are
I
moving
think
up.
they also did break in though in an easier time. Like if you look at it, the time when they broke in, there were still a few teams that had avoided relegation in the previous year that didn't have the strongest of squads. When you go look now at the teams 17th, 18th, 19th, etc., like you were just mentioning there, they have players in their squad who other leagues, other teams in the Prem would sign for 60, 70, 80 odd mil.
Pretty much every team feels like it has a talisman or
Yeah. Delap.
Yeah.
Like, but they're obviously getting relegated. But that's a little bit,
But even then,
you look at Wolves, Cunha.
I was about to say that even then there's levels to it.
There's
like where
levels,
are Wolves on the table?
17,
Like clear.
the one
9
above.
points
Like,
clear.
this is what we're talking here. It's Delap, and then it's Mateus Cunha.
Cunha. Yeah.
Like
You could play for like any team right now.
and I pretty much like I look at Ipswich team and Wolves team, and you pretty much like how many Ipswich players get into Wolves team?
Bellingham.
Not even Delay. I almost take Tran Larson sometimes. He's a back.
Yeah.
Like seriously. I mean, and we're talking about the 17th
One
and
position.
the 18th team. Like that is extremely concerning because these squads, it's okay. Cunha leaves, but then they have 60 mil investment or probably more. I think what's the release clause?
Oh, no, it is 65.
Yeah,
the release
yeah.
clause.
But even then, like, you think they reinvest that back, and because it seems to be that all these clubs are just run so much better than they were 10 years ago.
That would just build.
Is that the reinvestment is just so much better? Every club's got good sporting directing, like teams, and the clubs seem to be run on scale now a lot better. So it's like for teams to come up and stay up, just I feel like the Forest sort of method a couple of years ago is probably the only way I can really see it working out nowadays. Is that you're gonna have to risk everything you earned coming up on investment. Hope that you sign the right players. Hope that you can make it click in a short enough time period. Because obviously Forest, like they did it, but I think we pretty much had them all going down this year because of the fact that they'd shown nothing since they've come up, despite all this investment. So you're gonna have to like do enough to be able to stay up that year, and then hope you can kick on and sort of cement yourself in the league. But that's sort of what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest issue is, and I don't know how the Prem do address this, is the quality between obviously the Championship and the Premier League is the biggest it's ever been.
Yeah.
And you go look at the squads, like back 10 odd years ago, even 5 years ago, there was a couple Championship teams that were really knocking on the door. I remember the year when Brentford had Ben Rama in the Carabao Cup, and he was tearing it to bits. And there was a couple other teams floating around in the Championship. You don't really see these stories anymore. Like they might go knock off one team in the Carabao Cup or something, but those like long runs, because they actually had a lot of more quality players and the gap was so much smaller. I think now even these youngsters that are like, as soon as they turn 18, they're teared up by a Premier League team straight away. And I just don't see what the real future holds for these Championship clubs. Like you said, unless they go and spend 200 mil, that 200 they get from being in the Premier League, and spend every single dollar of it straight onto.
This would never happen. But like I think the way the financial fair play currently works is just wrong. Being like based on like a revenue system, like as in obviously that works. Yeah, obviously bigger clubs benefit from that more. So it's essentially like, you know, every club gets taxed the same amount, right? But then if you have more money, you have more money to spend, right? You know what I mean? So as in, it doesn't. It's like, you know, just doesn't close the gap at all. All it does is prevent clubs like Newcastle, who get new ownership, from instantly going crazy. But then that essentially just allows the bigger clubs to stay the big clubs. So it's like there needs to be some sort of monetary policy thing where.
How does that fix it though? Because
if you have a salary cap, or if you have like an absolute financial cost cap or something like that,
not variable,
to try and.
It would have to be so low. Like we're talking about the difference.
No, I know, but as in you have to try and do something, like, because you have to look at the AFL, you look at the NBA, like, you know, these are systems which are inherently meant to be equitable, right? You know, benefit the worst teams unevenly.
There's no relegation.
And there's no draft.
Yeah.
No, I know there's no draft, but there is salary caps and stuff, and no, I know I know that. But as in, you need to try and to minimize, to stop the gap getting bigger. You have to, I think, put a cap on like what these Premier League clubs can spend, because I think that's the main issue, is that they keep getting bigger at a way faster rate than these bottom clubs are getting bigger. So the gap is just getting increasingly bigger. Yeah. There's something wrong there which probably needs to be addressed rapidly. Otherwise,
just to touch on that, the only thing I think with that problem, or it's not a problem, it's a decent solution, is I just think it makes the like middle table teams to the top table teams condensed. I don't think it solves the relegation, like these teams that are because like let's be honest here. Let's say they do a universal amount you can spend.
They all beat the bad teams and they all just take points off each other.
Yes, that's all that's going to happen. Like let's say you did it this year, you couldn't physically do it. You couldn't physically do it less than 150 mil, I reckon.
Yeah, that's like
it'll just never happen because
that's the max.
It'll just never happen because if you look, like the owners of these clubs buy the clubs, like, you know, based on how much money they're expecting to make. And if all of a sudden you can't spend any money, then the price of these clubs is just going to like plummet, right? Yeah. So as in, it would never happen because these clubs essentially dictate what the league does, you know, if people like it or not. But I think we can all agree, so like there needs to be some sort of trying system to implement to make the league more competitive between the Championship and the Premier League.
Yeah, we'll have to make a full podcast dedicated to that.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll have to brainstorm some ideas because salary cap on face value works, but then
I think it is a relevant thing to talk about at this stage of the season though, because of the fact there's nothing to talk about. So as in like, because it kind of highlights.
It's a great lead on to a Manchester derby, which is supposed to be like the pinnacle of a football calendar.
Yeah,
we get a 0-0 with 0.91 XG and 0.49 XG with one big chance in the whole game, which was City's rebound that bounced to I think Foden 1-on-1.
Thought Garnacho had a chance.
Garnacho he headed the ball into the ground and he missed a header as well.
Yeah, right.
So it like United, I think probably edged the game over 90, but edging the game between two average sides. It looked like Man City were on the beach and it looked like United too scared to lose, and as such you get a result where 0-0. And did
KDB play?
KDB played, and
they're gonna batter. I'm telling you what. They're going to batter someone over the next 7 games of the season.
Just look out for that.
100%.
Load up.
Yeah. Just quietly. If you're going to look for if you're looking for a market,
take
City over 5.5 goals.
In one of these games.
So you're going to be paying like $15.
Probably more.
Yeah, probably more. I'm probably going to load up. KDB hat-trick, load up. Something's going to come.
Can I get your thoughts on Neville? I think said something about they become too rigid, the players, and too like Pep Guardiola-fied, if you know what I mean. Because I don't often agree with Neville, but this game was the epitome of no one wanted to lose. There was no flair. There was no like creation. There was just like...
There's 2 ways to look at this, I think. I think the first way to look at it is to go, well, I think he does... There is some elements of truth to that, but I think it's also like City aren't winning the league this year. Now let's try to find something when they've won 6 out of the last 7 years. But... saying that, I do think that, like, I think it's not a team thing, but on certain player cases, like, I think the best example of this is Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
Jack Grealish, since he went, like, he was sucked to life. Like, a lot of the times, like, when he first came to City, those first couple games, he was really driving, trying to take on the player. And then you've just seen ever since then, and that can't be anything except for a coaching thing, that he gets the ball, he plays it back. And it's just like...
Well, it's just sort of his role in the team as well, though. Like, he's not the centerpiece like he was at Villa.
I feel like he was the guy.
So that...
The context.
Yeah.
Like, I just think... I don't agree a lot of time with Neville, but for once watching that game, and I guess you're right, that no one's playing for anything. We've got a Europa League we have to win because we cannot do anything else.
Well, they are sort of playing for the Champions League.
They sort of are, but with how many spots are available to the Prem...
And they're also just going to make it.
They'll end up there.
Yeah.
They'll go, as I said, batter a team in the next few weeks and they'll be fine.
I still think in terms of downfalls, you know, if this is like as bad as it gets for City, which it borderline feels like, I mean, Jesus Christ, like is this what we've got to look out for? Pep staying.
Yeah.
Like, so
still probably get 75, 80 points or something like that.
Yeah, like when you're Man City, when City have done what they've done over the last few years, the only way is down in terms of like progression, essentially. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of kicking them while they're down, sort of thing. And
picking on them.
I don't love that take from Neville.
Yeah,
but because you would say like you credit all City's success over the last 5-6 years to Pep, like it's the Pep system. But now all of a sudden it's not working as well as it has. And it's like, okay, well, it's Pep's fault. Or not, it's Pep's fault. But it's in like, they've been too pepped.
I want to get the context. I think he meant as well as the United players as well.
Yeah.
Because the whole Amran sort of like trying to mimic and stuff, which I get. But at the end of the day, that's been successful. So to your point, City have been successful. So why wouldn't United try and mimic what Pep has done?
It's just a hard one because you look at the Premier League in the past and there was a lot more individual flair. And I think that was from all teams. It wasn't not even a Pep thing right now. You got to look at every team except for maybe a couple of those mid-table teams that have that one superstar. You got to look at the rest of them. And everyone's got 11 players now. And there's not one complete and other superstar. And we don't see this individual flair. And it's more of your 11 players. It's like this, everyone's a role player.
Even the talismans.
Yeah, you're a role player.
You don't start anymore.
No.
Like how many times have we seen that over the last couple of years? Like they're not working hard enough, so they're done. I mean that is very true. Yeah. Every team has a role player, but if you don't play your role, you're out of the team.
You're gone.
No, that's really really true. I feel like that probably started with like the Ozils and the Like
Yeah.
Ozil was early days, and obviously Ronaldo,
Aubameyang.
Alba,
And I
at
think
the same time as well.
Like I think you've made a good point, and I'm going to have to make a video about it at some point. The Hazards, the Ozils, I guess Sanchez for a little bit there.
Yep.
Those marquee players. We're in a system, in a bit of a not system. We're in a moment in the Prem right now where we're taking a dip because they're all gone.
Yeah.
De Bruyne leaving. We'll get your thoughts on that as well. If you know Ronaldo anymore, we're in a period where a Foden, a Palmer, a Gibbs White or someone has to step up and take one of those molds. But it feels like no one's there.
Sorry.
I'm going down.
No, I get what you're saying. But it's just like
Foden.
the comparison, like the Hazards, the Ozils, like the Ronaldos.
That's laughable.
The Foden, the Gibbs.
That's what's laughable now. Though there is no Hazards. There is no things.
It's sad because like
none of those players anymore.
What Instagram reels are these kids in 10 years going to watch? Like I'm watching Hazard.
Ronaldo step over versus Villa.
You're right, but
And
you
they're
wonder
watching,
with
like,
these players though
Chris
if
Wood.
they could have been. You wonder with some of these players because
If you
they've
gave
been
more
put in this
license.
system. Like you, obviously on a much lesser scale, but you've kind of seen it a little bit with Cole Palmer.
Well, Cole Palmer and
once
Foden
he-
have been shadows of what they were last year.
No, but you saw it last year with Cole Palmer
Yeah.
a little bit. How he was kind of given a little bit of that license in
Yep.
early years. Same with Bruno.
Well, I think Bruno's probably the last left of like a
Yeah.
solo superstar. That's it. That's
Yeah,
the last remaining player.
I think it's an interesting tape because you see the other leagues.
Salah.
Yeah.
Nah, Salah, I think is that to a T, to be honest.
So, yeah,
He's
Salah,
definitely
Bruno.
the last
Well,
one.
you've heard Mourinho and John Terry say it before, even with Hazard. They go, we knew he wasn't going to put in the work, so we all as the other 10 players,
worked
we
hard.
all put an extra 10% because we knew what he was going to get. And I think the problem is the gap between the best and worst players in teams now is so much littler that teams look at it and go, well, why are we going to play
Make up for
him?
his, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like even a Hazard who was so good under a Pep system wouldn't play or would be something along
You
those
wouldn't
lines.
have got the same player,
No.
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Leroy
right? Like,
Sané
it's
sort of like is like there's an example. He just disappeared. He was like a gun for like 2 years and just disappeared off the face of the earth because of the system.
Look at Lamine Yamal. Do you think if Lamine Yamal was at City, he'd look as good as he does right now? No. Because right now he's
Well,
got that.
under current Pep, I agree.
Because right now at
Casido defending for him.
Barca, he's got that just license to take on players, Pep, that's not how Pep plays. And that's also maybe a system thing, so we're probably going a little bit off track.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if I go down the
yeah.
ladder, okay, Salah, yeah, fair enough. Saka,
But
even
but
then,
even then,
system.
Saka is like, he started his career as a left back. Like he's so well rounded that he's just not really.
It doesn't give that same feel.
He is our talisman.
Yeah.
But he's also one of the most hardworking players in the team in terms of like tracking back and stuff. So
Third is, as I said, Gibbs White. Again, you laughed at that, but that's the way it is. Fourth place, who we've got Chelsea, Palmer, probably close to that sort of superstar. Fifth, City. I guess Rodri would probably be their guy, but he's not there.
Rodri's
well,
not
Haaland's the one who doesn't have to like. Haaland
Just
will
he
make
taps the ball
runs
in.
and then just walk back. Like I have seen that a lot with Haaland. So he's the one where where the rest of City's team will somewhat take on that extra load defensively to cover for him. But
Like, if you talk about faces, it's Bruno, Haaland, and Salah. Salah's probably the three. That's sort of that early 2000s type Prem feel, right? Where they just have license whatever the fuck they want to do, realistically. But everyone else is a bit different. And that's why. Because you laughed at it, but it actually is the point right now. We've gone from Hazard, Aubameyang, Van Persie, these guys, to like the third best team. You laughed at it, but Morgan Gibbs-White is their player. That's sort of...
no, I
You know what I
keep
mean?
forgetting City Forest after it, to
Yeah.
be fair. I keep forgetting
I know,
Forest after
it's the exaggerated example, but that is literally it. That's why it's laughable. That's why I feel so wrong this season in the Premier League. Like our third best team. Nothing
it's
wrong with
been
it.
a really shit Prem season, to be completely honest. Like
I'd taken probably 2 more leagues in front of Prem this year.
the quality,
Despite-
like the product of the Prem is just
it's still competitive. I'm not going to discredit
the
it.
level has gotten better in terms of what they're doing on the pitch, without a doubt, right? But as we said, there's less sort of like narratives within the games now because there's no more like there's the marquee factor to players is going.
Yeah.
It's just the top and the bottom is this year has been particularly bad, but that has been such an important element of like when you talk about the nostalgia of the Prem, you think about players within teams, right? Like you think about these eras of teams, and then your mind goes to what players were in that team.
Just about kids before the we're talking about all the kits before they started, and you're like, Henri, long sleeve,
literally.
like,
whereas you're going to look back at this City era and you're going to think of Pep. Like you're not going to think
Arteta.
of. Yeah, everyone's going to be thinking of Arteta. Like,
Arteta,
what a man. They're going to be thinking of the two Spaniards who dominated the league. But seriously, as in that, in one way, that's kind of, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but it's like, literally, you're going to be looking back and think of this era of Pep's City team, whereas you look at like Henri and Bergkamp's Arsenal team.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you think of Wenger and you think of Fergie, without a doubt, because of the success they had. But it's easier to put a face like of a player's face to the time period than I probably would be nowadays.
Yeah.
That is not to say that KDB, you know, is not going to be a Premier League legend or is not a Premier League legend, and Rodri hasn't been amazing and all these things. But it is losing a little bit. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about Prime Prem though, you watched it. I was keeping my eyes on this. Palace Brighton. Yeah. That was Barclay's ball. 3 red cards. We've got Mateta scoring a banger at the start of the game. Back and forth. The most confusing. I don't understand it. It's a rivalry somehow, but for the South Coast and London, it's somehow a rivalry. We've got Nketiah sent off. Gahey sent off.
It's like 20 London rivalries, mate. It's hilarious.
Van Hecker got sent off for Brighton. Chaos. Yeah. Crowd going nuts. Great goal for Munoz. His 6th of the year. He's going to be contention for one of the players of the season. I know Anthony Robinson will get it, but everyone forget about Munoz. 6 goals for a left back they paid like a couple million for. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. These clubs like Palace, who are just 13th, are now signing this Munoz, a Colombian, for a couple mil. Probably the second best left back in the Prem. Scored 6 goals. Great goal this game. Danny Welbeck just continues to score. I think his goals per minute ratio is like one of the best outside of Chris Wood this year.
Yeah.
So he's killing it as well. It was a great game. Like back and forth. Good for the weekend because it gave it some excitement. Palace now move close because apparently they're still alive for Europe as well. But 10 teams can make Europe next year. They are 5 points off eighth place. Brighton 5 points off the top 5 now. They've lost 2 in a row though. Brighton's Champions League hopes gone. What are you thinking now? Now that sort of Chelsea fixed up, City, we can't imagine dropping more points.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we spoke about this. I think is that like the big boys will probably just
settle,
take over towards the end of the season. Is I think what we both agreed on.
Do you think, like when we look at like a Brighton or like a Palace going next year into Europe?
Yeah,
because they probably both make it from the looks of it. Do you reckon like because we're talking about how competitive the Prem's been, will they be successful though in Europe? So we've seen sort of all the Prem teams other than Arsenal flop the Champions League. The Europa League, we have to wait.
Villa is still in the Champions League.
Got an easy run.
Yeah, but it's Villa.
I know it's Villa. But we think Liverpool, best team in the Prem, bounced out.
Yeah.
City, the Kings of England, bounced out. Arsenal look like a good shot, but they've come. This is a real deal. If you face obviously Los Blancos.
Oh, Gabriel, man, I don't want to talk about that.
But like, if Prem gets 10 teams or 9 teams in. A Palace make it, a Brighton make it. Are we thinking they're going to be successful?
I'm trying to think, like, how are the guys in Europa League going?
It's you dominating. We're the two favourites.
Yeah, it's you and Spurs.
And we're both 15
and then Conference League. Chelsea would be favourites.
Okay, it's Conference League. I'll whatever.
Yeah, but if they're in Europe,
Europa League.
But if they're in Europe, they're going to be Europa and Conference League.
Palace will be Conference League.
Yeah.
Brighton will be Europa League.
Yeah.
But you think with like a Lazio, with a Frankfurt?
I personally think they'll be extremely competitive.
Yeah, I don't know if they can win it, but like I'm saying, they will.
I think they can win it.
They can make a quarters
West
very
Ham
easily.
won the Conference League. Like I to be honest,
I think the Conference League is a Premier League trophy. I'm fine to accept that because you're facing.
Yeah,
like
so I think
Swiss.
Palace. That's what I'm saying. I think Palace can win it. I think any Premier League team who makes Europe now, I don't care which team it is. I think because of how tough the Premier League is. I think the Prem, in terms of the overall quality in the Prem, clears every other league in terms of depth. Okay. You have good clubs at the top in every single league, but then I think it really gets rinsed down really quick.
Yeah.
Whereas I honestly think now, there literally seems to be 17 teams in the Premier League who are all like elite in their own way. On their day, can be elite, and I think they're all capable. Particularly the ones in the top half who've proven over the course of the season that they belong to be there, can go and have success. On a European scale. That's my opinion. Yeah.
You're thinking Fulham, Brighton, Bournemouth, Palace. 2 of those 4 teams are going to be in Europe. That's from at the minimum. I think 8 teams will make it from the Prem.
Well, if United or Spurs win it, that's another in the Champions League. Couldn't there be 6 in the Champions League?
Yes, so next year could be 6 Champions League, 3 Europa, 1 Conference.
Yep.
Because Chelsea, I think they have to win the Conference League.
Well,
So
Chelsea-
That can be 10 teams.
that's how it
Yeah.
works. Because
Wow.
That's
So the
why
way it works-
like Palace are competing for Europe right now. That's why it was a massive win in the
So the
weekend.
way it works is there's
They're
4
close.
normally. We're gonna get the Premier League is gonna get the 5th because of
coefficient?
that.
Yeah.
Because
'Cause
they're
Arsenal
top
went deep.
division.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna if United or Tottenham win, they get 6 for the Champions League. So then they normally get 2 for the Europa League. But if Chelsea win the Conference League, now they got 3 in the Europa
Yeah.
League, and then they'll have a 6-3-1.
And then the 10th team goes into the Conference League.
Yeah, I think if anything, that just helps
Do you think,
prove the point a little
Prove
bit
it?
more. Is that like if they're getting 10 teams in Europe, it's because the quality is just deserving.
Yeah, maybe I worded
that.
it wrong. They probably will. Prem will dominate Europa and Conference League. Just that, I just keep thinking like last round, the way that City get bounced.
No,
by
I actually think it
Real.
makes more sense that the Prem is less. We're having less dominance in the Champions League. I think it makes more sense.
It's sort of to the point.
Because of the fact that I think at the top end, the Premier League is we're representing the Premier League here. I'm going to use the word
the Premier League board.
The Premier League does get caught out a little bit because of the lack of the top talent, because it's much more condensed in the other leagues to the top few teams. But as it filters down, the Premier League gets more competitive at these levels because of the fact that the comp is just so even. It's kind of the way I look at it.
It'd be crazy having Fulham
I
or
agree with
Brighton
that,
in a
yeah.
fucking Europa League. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like 5 years ago, I would have not expected that.
I mean, even Villa in the Champions League this year. Like,
Yeah, I keep forgetting about Villa, but yeah,
no,
that's so true.
I could not agree more. I'm hell keen to see those teams.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
Because like, I always, when I was a bit younger, I always used to wonder, like, you obviously just get born into whatever team you go for.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's for most people, and it's like, what's the unfortunate reality of being born into like a mid-table Premier League team?
Well, you're stuck there.
Like, it literally is the narratives every single week. It's like, we're versing this London derby and this London
yeah.
derby, but now all of a sudden these clubs have genuine, real, like, European potential, right?
Yeah.
And like, that is something exciting for sure. More silverware is always exciting. Like, a final is always exciting. If you can find an excuse to have a final, or even if it's a Conference League, like,
We saw West Ham celebrate that.
yeah, there's Well, mate,
Yeah.
they give it to us about the European trophies. Like, relax.
Still do have one more than you guys.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm saying
love
in
it.
the Conference League that hardly can. I mean, what's harder to win, the Conference League or the Carabao Cup? I don't know, but genuinely, what's harder to win? What do you reckon's harder to win?
The
Carabao Cup is much harder to
Pep's
win.
made it the most competitive trophy to win.
The
in
Carabao Cup is much harder to win than the Conference League, mate.
England. There's an argument.
That
for
is not-
There
that is
is an
not
argument
true.
for it because everyone's
I'd
fit.
agree with that.
It's
When-
played in the peak of the season.
When was the last
December.
time?
No,
When was the last time a team worse than West Ham won the Carabao Cup? And West Ham that year as well. Didn't they shit the bed in the league?
Yeah,
Yeah, they came like
Because
16th,
yeah,
didn't they?
like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, mate, the Conference League is not it. But even then, it's still a sick. It's a sick.
It's Thursday nights. It's European
it's just
trips.
It's a great optic for the fans, right?
What's the trophy called for League 1 and League 2?
The national trophy. I don't know.
No, there's
this
like
is
the
called
cup. The cup.
Oh,
the pizza.
the pizza cup.
John.
John Paul Pizza.
Yeah, Papa John's.
Yeah, Papa John's pizza. Yeah.
The Papa John's trophy,
Yeah.
mate, on a Thursday
hilarious.
night. You'll get
Yeah,
pumped
because
up.
all like the reserve Prem
Prem teams
teams
going
playing
out.
it as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, okay. Papa John's.
Papa John's trophy, mate. It's one of the top trophies to get. But I was like, what a game I'm so glad I actually watched that one. That was a great game between Brighton and Palace. Restore faith in the Prem. Let's go to our top 10 list. Bring it across. Centre backs now.
Yep.
We said what we did left backs. We said it was a better list. We did left backs or right?
No, we did left backs.
Left backs.
But we're saying overall, this list has improved dramatically
deeper
from a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh my god, a year ago the fullback stocks
was
were
grim.
grim.
Whereas this year, I feel like the centre backs, the top end's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm giving my top 6. It literally just pairs from the clubs. I gives it away, but they're just partners.
So you must have. Okay.
I've just got partners with my top
I
6.
think we have
Can I
one.
guess your top 6 in their pairs right now?
Go on.
Just say the clubs.
Just at the clubs.
Nottingham Forest,
What on?
Liverpool,
Oh, mate,
and
you're an
Arsenal.
absolute
No,
genius, mate.
you
The
are.
top
That
3
was well
clubs
done from you.
have got the top 6 position. But the rest is exciting. So I think we all have different players. I've tried to be edgy as always.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm going to get caught out here. for a lack of knowledge.
But that's the fun of the game.
But that's why we
But
have
Tots,
the-
that's why you start first, okay?
Yeah,
Get us, get us started hot. Yeah, come on, hit us with a...
In 10th place, we have Lenny Yarrow.
Nah, I don't. In 10th place, I've got Ruben Diaz.
Right. Ruben Diaz, yeah.
Is he on your list?
No.
Oh, I'm washed.
I think he's dropped off.
How
That's
high
just me,
did you
though.
put Ruben Diaz?
I'm washed. I'm so washed.
Go on, then.
Go on.
Am I going the whole list?
No,
just
just what? It's a short
10th
sentence.
Ruben
short
Diaz.
sentence. Why is he dropped off, or why is he there, or why is he...
Because he would be lower this year on your ranking than he was
I
last
think
year.
we've been top 4 for most people. last year.
Yeah, well, he's dropped off. I think, 3 seasons back, he was the best Premier League centre-back, and I think there's still a little bit of nostalgia in my mind from that. I think if he didn't do that,
I'm washed.
I wouldn't have him in my top 10.
Okay, yeah. Because, again, I'm holding true to my word. I said this was almost like at the start of the podcast. I had him super low. And I got grilled from you guys. But I'm staying true to my word. Last 18 months is what I formulate my list on.
No.
And I've stayed true to that, I feel like.
I do get you. I just think at that point in time, it was a bit...
It sounded
I think
ridiculous.
it was
I had him
like 6 months
six.
after he won the
I had him like 6, I think.
FA
But
player of the season.
I'll understand. I had the foresight. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
okay.
You're
My
10th.
10th place, I have Fofana from Chelsea.
On his day, he's good, but is he ever available?
Yeah,
That's
no,
the thing.
no. I think that's his main drawback is that
No.
is
I
that
wouldn't even thought of him.
nah. Wesley Fofana's
On his day, he's very
Wesley
good.
Fofana's a player,
Yeah, okay.
but he just can't stay fit.
Yeah.
But when he's on the park, I think he's one of the better centre backs in the league, obviously. And that being said, I don't think. Yeah, Chelsea's defensive record hasn't been horrible this year when he's played. It's been good. And like, yeah, I don't think it's too much more to be said. I don't think Wesley Fofana, like as you said, the back end, the top 20 centre back list would be interesting as well because like
There's a lot around that spot.
there's so many.
Yeah.
Like there's probably 20 centre backs who could be in these bottom 4 positions. I would say.
Yeah.
Or
That's
bottom 5 for me.
yeah, that's sort of where I have mine as well. So I went 10, hipster, Lacroix from Palace, 9 clean sheets in 27 games.
FIFA tax.
That's a
FIFA
clean sheet
tax.
every 3 games. Palace, the 5th best away record
Okay,
in the Prem. I reckon
I can't
he's
say I've
been-
watched much Palace, but has he actually been that good?
He's been that good. Mark Gehi alongside him, probably one of my favourite combinations. I watch Palace every week. I have the soft spot for Palace. He has been ridiculous. And only 27 games, keeps a clean sheet every 3 games. Palace hadn't conceded an away goal for over 400 minutes. Like these stats are ridiculous for Palace, so he has to go in.
So what you're telling me is,
He's
if
10th.
I buy FIFA next year, he's going to have 95 pace and be like 84 rated.
He's definitely got a player something card already. 100% he would have had one this year because he's in great form. I'm sure he would have informed car with 90 pace and 88 defending, something like that.
Yeah, don't
Get
buy
back in
FIFA. That's the...
Game's gone.
At 9, I've got Romero.
Yeah.
Um,
The other Argentinian.
yeah, I think a bit of definitely World Cup tax here, but I think on his day,
On
his day, he's borderline one of the better centre backs in the league, like a top 3, top 4 centre back. He can do it and like be as good as anyone. No one gets past him. He's aggressive, arrogant, everything you want in your centre back.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit hard, especially in the
Spurs
the way Spurs play, Spurs itself, his partners throughout the season.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I've added him to the list.
I'll
but
give you that, yeah.
all him being at Spurs has pushed him down the list.
Yeah.
to
I think you
9.
guys are unbelievably harsh.
What, Ruben Diaz?
I'm just thinking about like my list. You put so much weight onto these Forest boys being 3rd, but then 4th and 5th doesn't. Like City being 4th or Diaz is shit. Like,
I'm just here for the fall off, the generational fall off.
no, but it's like you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Obviously, to be 4th, you haven't been that bad.
No.
Like
This
it's
is this point and start.
yeah. So 9th place. That being said, I really want to change this pick because I don't even think he's good. I have to lit.
No, you see, I'm here for a Delit pick.
No,
Because
the lit is
I
fine.
think he's been really good this year. Like, we've been shit.
No, I think he's good enough to be on my list, right? Like,
He's not top 10, I don't think.
yeah, but I am actually questioning whether I believe he's top 10 right now or not.
That's what
But he's on my list.
Yeah.
So,
Ajax tagged, 2018.
yeah, like he's still living off the aura of being an 18-year-old captain.
Yeah,
Like, look,
yeah.
that's cool, right?
Love that.
You were sick at Ajax. No, Delit is a very solid Premier League defender. I think he can go up to another level. Don't get me wrong.
If the team
I think
improves.
Delit's best is on the top end of this list. That's what he's capable of. But that being said, I think he's been far from bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've gone number 9. I think he's been underrated again this year. Branthwaite from Everton. 7 clean sheets for Everton this year, 24 games. He should be playing for England, in my opinion. Everton's back line, it's just Everton. Sean Dyche, now with David Moyes, one of the best defensive sides in the league. He's the key to that. I think has to be, and he'll probably play for England in the World Cup. Nothing really else to say. 7 clean sheets in 24 games. Hasn't played many games, but when he does, makes a big difference. Massive challenge on the weekend and stopped Trossard, I think, in the first half. So big game for him. Continues to improve. Number 9 for me. Pretty stock.
Number 8, delete. Yeah, a bit what like Flynn just said. Yeah, I think he's been really good this year. He's been our best centre back.
Games having challenges and Leicester.
He's just been given a bit of shit because of where we are on the ladder, and you're never going to get the recognition being a top side like United are.
Indeed.
Or actually, I wouldn't say top, big side like United are.
Big name.
Yeah, big name club being so far down the ladder and so shit. I'll be keen to see what it's like next year because I'm hoping, and I'd say at least there should be some sort of improvement in United. So around that 7th, 8th position. So there should be improvement in his recognition as well.
Yep. You're right.
I am just stat checking.
He's analysing. He's proving.
So I really want to change my list, but I'm not going to do it.
Integrity,
I have Romero at 8.
Yeah.
You already touched on Romero. He's probably living off the World Cup tax. But no, once again, Romero, one of those players who on his day is one of the best centre-backs in the league.
Cooked by Spurs, man.
Huh?
Just cooked by Spurs.
Yeah,
Clubs cooked him.
He also, whether not only are Spurs shit, but the way they play does not make their centre-backs look amazing because they're going to leak a lot of goals, right? So that's the nature of the team. But Romero is still is a top 10 centre-back in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah. I've gone one out the blue. I've still got Akanji at number 8, which is rogue.
Akanji?
Yeah, he only played 20 games. But
But I don't even think he plays a centre-back half the time.
I think their best team will have to because Vardy's playing left back. And I think Rico Lewis is now established as their right back.
Yeah, Rico Lewis as of really recent. But I just think
I saw probably as a year ago, I probably see him as a left or like a wing back.
I would have just called him like a fullback.
Yeah.
Because he played both sides a lot.
I'm chucking him in here because I didn't have him. I think I had him last week. So I'm going to chuck him in here at centre back. Being injured a shit ton. And this is one of my only picks I've got on the history of him because he's only kept 3 clean sheets in his few games he's played this year. But City I think they look so vulnerable without an Akanji or a Vardy out there. And that for me, it's 8 and 7 for me are just when they're not there, they look worse. So that's why I've got Akanji at 8 because City at their best, he plays. Whatever position it is, he's playing, I feel like, in that back four. So he slides in, but again, more on reputation rather than performances this year. But that's just City for me. That's my 8.
And my 7, I've got Kanate.
7?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't go with that, but...
Yeah, I wonder how high you got him. I think as time went on, I was very judgmental on his partner.
Yeah.
And I think to have them both up there, they've been really good defensively this year, Liverpool, but I think there's been players around them that have complemented that.
Yeah, okay.
And I think Kanate's been really good because I wouldn't have last year even had him in my top 10. I'm 90% sure I wouldn't have had him in my top 10.
But it was like an 8 or something.
Nah. I really didn't rate him probably prior to the last 18 months.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you think about it. Prior to the last 18 months, he couldn't hold that second spot at centre-back.
It was injuries, though, for Kanate.
Yeah, but you're only good as your availability.
Yeah,
but he wasn't holding it when... he's been at Liverpool probably for 5 years now, and he's only probably just...
has he been, how long... keep going. I'll check how long he's been there for.
And he's only probably taken that in the last 12 months. I reckon second half of last year, even the start of last season, I'm not sure he was starting week in, week out.
Let me have a look. He joined...
Can't see later than 22.
Why is this not loading?
There's no way it's been later than 22, don't you reckon?
Kanate?
Yeah.
He joined in 22.
Oh.
21-22 he joined.
Yeah.
So look, like
4 years.
I feel like the last 2 years I feel like he's constantly underrated, Kanate.
Maybe I'm just losing it, but from my recollection, I'm not sure he started the
He wasn't a
start of
consistent
last
starter.
year. He hasn't been a consistent starter till the last 12 months. Back into last year and this season.
I feel like he started live. Okay, whatever. I'll let you have that. But I feel like he's one of those players that's constantly that underrated.
No, he has been good, yeah.
So he was your 7.
Yeah.
My 7th is James Tarkovsky.
I'll rate that.
Yeah,
I got Branthwaite, so yeah.
You got Branthwaite. I just think he's more of like the staple in that team in terms of Skipper. The two. Yeah, he's Skip. Obviously a bit of Sean Dyche's legacy, but no, like, to be fair, I mean, yeah, like I think the defensive record speaks for itself.
It's nuts,
like, it's been 2 years now. Well, it's been years now of like solid defensively, and yeah, I just think he week in week out does his job, and some of like the last ditch blocks and tackles he does is just like. They're kind of the eye-catching moments from a centre-back. And I feel like I see Tarkovsky just do a lot of that. And I guess, he's the staple piece in one of the best defensive records in the Prem like over the last couple of years. So definitely. I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah, I got Van de Ven 7. High, maybe. But I think, like I said with Akanji, when he's there, it makes the big difference. Tottenham looks so much better. He's quick. He closes down space. That first 6 games of last season, wore a start for season for Tottenham, but he was the guy for that. Whenever he's injured, they look shit. Van de Ven 7 is pretty simple for me, that one.
6 Tarkovsky, so we're on the same page.
You're backing him, yeah.
Yeah, we're on the same page. I just love the way he defends. It's that old school defending, and he just...
snaps people.
Yeah, does what he needs to do to keep those clean sheets, to pretty much carry Everton over the line, because Everton don't score many goals, and it's a lot of 0-0 wins and stuff like that. Wanted to touch on something. I thought you would have someone in your list that you don't have.
Who's that?
A Bournemouth centre-back.
Wait to the next segment. I'll get into Bournemouth in a few segments. It was close.
Didn't make your top 10 though. That was interesting.
I didn't like him, I'm pretty sure, but no, I didn't. Not right now. Again, the last month has hurt them though. They haven't won in like 8 games.
Fair enough.
They've not been good enough defensively, so no. Close.
6th spot, I've got Ruben Dias.
Yeah.
So it might seem high, but I just don't think I'm as harsh on like the fall off as you guys are. I think it'd be pretty silly to not have any relatively high City consideration on these lists, considering the fact that they are still like 4th and they haven't been that, they've obviously been so far from their best, but yeah, like they're still a Champions League club in England. And that being said, they've been the best club in the world
for the last 4 or 5 years, yeah. Yeah,
well, close to a decade, they've been the best club in the world, essentially. So, yeah, I think undoubtedly Ruben Dias has been far from his best as well. But that being said, I think he's still, without a doubt, one of the best centre-backs in the league.
Yeah.
Just quietly, though, none of us got John Stones.
The fall-off has been...
talk about a fall-off.
That's them.
Yeah.
For me, Diaz has been more like that way.
Yeah.
He's just going straight
but that is mental, because a year ago, I reckon he would have been...
Probably 1 or 2.
He was probably top 3 for all of us.
No, I reckon that was 2 years ago.
But we made this list.
He was probably 1 2 years ago.
And then became probably...
And then probably fell off a little bit. And now
he's Saliba and him last year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's not in this list, yeah. All right, here comes the start of my boring top 6. I went Milenkovic 6. I think he does the more than nitty gritty, so doesn't stand out as much. I love a bit of a nitty gritty centre back, but I prefer his partner over him. He's had 13 clean sheets in his 30 games, a bit more than his partner, but doesn't look as nice as Rivero does. I've got him at 6.
I've got him at 5.
Yeah.
Very similar. I see a little bit of a resemblance in the Ferdinand Vidic centre-back partnership. Like, Milenkovic is genuinely Vidic.
Same haircut, I think.
Like a bit dirty, gets everything done.
It's going to be a bit racist.
Where was the racism there?
He's just a bit dirty. Like.
Gets everything done like you'd like him to.
Same haircut. He's just a bit dirty.
Like puts his body always on the line. Genuinely, would put his head underneath a brick wall, but they've put a real good, solid partnership together this year. And
they would have cost for 40 million together, I reckon. They're probably one of their least expensive transfers, and they're probably the best transfer they've made.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
I got Kanate at 5.
Man,
I don't know how that can be low.
Neither. I don't know how that's low.
With the guys above him, I don't know. There's no way you can make a case against this.
Oh, okay, sorry, no, okay, yeah, it's close.
There's no way you got him. Okay, I could see 4th, but you got him.
There's no way he's top 3.
Yeah, no way.
Sorry, I thought I had him.
I had is top 3, then I'm walking out, because Kanate's been good. He's been very, very good, and I know they're going to piss him to win the league. I get it, but it's just the guys above him are just just like next level.
Yeah, just
is
solid.
all I can say.
So
It's
I
not.
can't wrong.
Maybe there's probably one more spot you could interchange him for me, but I think the top three is extremely set. And then there's been obviously a come up recently.
Yeah. That's Barillo for me in 5. Same thing, Milinkovic, best combination. He just had less clean sheets, but he looks better. Good on the ball, good for an assist as well, good for a goal. That's why I have him a little bit higher. That goal, that's his 5 for me.
Well, yeah, that moves on straight to my 4. Same bloke there. So
Yep.
spoke about him a little bit when I was talking about Milinkovic. Yeah, so they've just pretty much got a solid partnership going on there. He's just looked really composed as well, which I think Milinkovic doesn't have.
The ball playing.
Yeah, the ball playing. But I think that's a good combination you need sometimes. You just need someone crazy that's just going to kill themselves, and then someone obviously still good, but then someone next to him who's really composed and really reads the play probably a bit more. Whereas Milinkovic probably plays more on that one-on-one and
takes
really
the best.
likes to sweep a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm really low at 4 as well. I just think the main thing, the scariest thing to me is that this guy's still 22.
Yeah, these guys
Jeez, I didn't realise. I thought he's 24 or 5.
8 more years for these two. I think Milinkovic is 25.
He's 27.
27.
But
six
how
more years,
scary? How scary is that?
Yeah.
Murillo is 22.
Player of the year last year, probably gets close again. Player of the year this year.
I
for
mean,
them.
talk about scary. The only thing is one of these guys going to get is Murillo going to get pipped? That's probably, I feel like, the more likely scenario is that a bigger club comes in, offers him
100 mil.
Juve,
maybe not even the transfer fee, just the wages. For him to not be swayed away is going to be the main thing because it's going to be a European club. How much longer can Forest stay third before this squad starts getting teared apart? Is the reality, right? We always see this happen.
Yeah,
with these with these smaller clubs, they get to these positions. So, if they can keep that, if they can somehow manage to keep that centre back pairing, then it's hard to see Forest
dropping out.
Falling that much further back because there is such a solid foundation at that club now.
They're set. So I counted wrong. Canate's 4. I just didn't count it properly. I still, on his dad, I think he's ridiculous. I still think he's so underrated as
I would agree with that for sure.
He is the 1v1 defender for Liverpool. He will take the forward. He got dragged Carabao Cup final, but before that, he was doing really, really good aerially. I think Van Dijk isn't. I still love Van Dijk, but he looks even better in this sort of second regeneration of him because Konate's there with him. I think similar to the Milinkovic thing, he gets put down because he's not the ball player, he's not the really expansive, looks good one. But 1v1, you take him a lot of the time because he's so good in the air. Never really seen him get skipped past. Doesn't make that.
Yeah, he does have a
lunging.
noticeably very good defensive record compared to.
You could not make highlights of him fucking up. He's often in the right spot.
But also those, I know Canada has really impressive dual stats compared to even the other top centre backs in the league. I know for a fact that I've seen those all over Instagram.
I think him and Gabriel pretty
I think he clears both the Arsenal centre backs on defensive dual stats in terms of aerial headers one.
I definitely beat Saliba. I don't know if Gabriel I think is closer than.
Yeah, Gabriel might take him in defensive aerial duels.
But he is, one of all those stats.
But he performs so well on those stats because he's the plays that one-on-one role.
Yeah, he takes Haaland. He'll take, he'll the big guy. So I got him 4, not 3.
Oh, well, then everyone's got the same top 3. It's
what
just
order
the
though?
Order.
Let's announce our orders then.
I'll announce it.
I've got Lisha, and then I've got
Euro,
Maguire,
and then Euro.
Lenny Euro.
I've got Saliba at 3.
Agree.
Gabriel at 2.
Agree. Yeah,
and Van Dijk at 1.
Well played, my friend.
I don't have the same.
What's your 31 there?
I do have Saliba at 3.
Okay, so Gabriel 1.
I have Gabriel
Goal
at 1.
threat.
This guy, man. Okay. We can probably just speak candidly about him now.
Yeah.
So Saliba, I think we can all. So Saliba probably is the one of these 3 living on his reputation a little bit. This Rolls Royce thing. He's had a great year.
Don't get me
wrong.
This has been.
I think I'm actually impressed. You guys both put him at 3 because
You've convinced me.
He's the one out of him and Gabriel. Saliba's the one that gets mate. The fans just must be praying. I don't know what it is because this guy can just never ever put a foot wrong. Not that he does, but him and Gabriel can do the exact same thing. And the Saliba glaze is just unbelievable. No, it's unbelievable. I love Saliba, but he has not had his best year this year. He was better last year. He was better in the 2 years prior, I think. He's been
2 years ago was nuts.
He's been he's been like absolutely fine this year, much better than fine. He's been amazing this year, but he was the best centre back in the world there for a solid 18 months, in my opinion. You know, when he was the reason we went from a top 4 team to a title challenging team. But I think that hasn't. He's been the lesser of the two in this team this year. Maybe that's overshadowed by Gabriel's goals and his aerial threat. Like maybe that catches more highlights and stuff. But that's my main thing about Saliba. And then the Van Dijk one, I don't know. I guess you guys talk about why you have Van Dijk one, and then why I'll explain why I got Gabriel.
Well, I've always had Van Dijk. I've always thought like forever. I've seen like you guys always say the mistakes or like the lunges, but I just always see him cleaning up. I always see him mopping up the back. And
without
this year
without
is the prime example of the reason why there's no real. I feel like I'm in my own corner here. Don't have to fight this one this year because they are so clear, and he has been that good. I feel like again.
Yeah, he has been.
And you cry at the start of the season where they were all this cool, calm, composed side. They weren't trailing at halftime. They were leading every halftime. It's because they were keeping clean sheets and because he was doing so well.
That's changed a little bit as the season's gone on.
And it's changed season going on. And you guys said last year, same thing happened last year, just not to the same extent this year.
Yeah.
But
it's just because we've put our foot off the gas. It's unbelievable.
But it seems like whenever they need like a big clean-up job, he's there to do it. Whenever he needs a big block, he's there to do it. So that's just for me.
I agree. Pretty similar with me. And I remember stating
how big would you say the gap is?
Not big at all. From my end. The thing I would say, though, is with me, 12 months ago, I said, Van Dijk's come back. He's done it for 6-7 months since probably being poor for 2-3 years. I wouldn't say poor, but poor compared to his standards.
He was pretty poor.
Coming back from his standards, he was pretty poor. And I said 6-7 months, and I remember you had him quite high on your list. And he was playing good football, really good football. But I said, I want to see it for longer, and they're still conceding too early, and they're still doing this and that. I said, if XYZ gets fixed, I'll have him right up on my list. And yeah, I would agree. Those things were fixed. Is that a little bit of a testament to Kanate next to him? Very good chance that could be. But I think that, I think if Van Dijk's not there, they don't win the league.
Yeah.
It's him and Salah.
Yeah, it's been pretty nuts what he's done.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to say the exact same thing about...
Yeah, where are you without Gabriel?
Well, I am absolutely devastated that Gabriel's gotten injured prior to this Madrid game.
Yeah, Mbappe's in a cook.
Because, I mean, this is the most unbelievable thing.
Arsenal getting rage baited.
I just can't believe the luck we've had this year.
Saka back. How goes Gabriel?
Because this guy Gabriel, I'm telling you, this guy is. I know you guys know how unbelievable he is. You have him second on the list, but I can't. He still does not get enough credit. I'm telling you, he still does not get enough credit. The only mistake I can think he's made in 3 years was Jared Bowen crossing the ball in and he didn't cut it off.
That was Calafiori's fault.
Well, Cal let him get to the byline, but as in Gabriel probably, I don't know, it seemed like a lack of communication. But I swear to God, it's the only mistake I can think he's made, right? And he scores that many goals. I don't care about how many, if he lets in 1 or 2 goals every couple of seasons, because he definitely outweighs that. But
6 goals, 3 Prem, and they've all been important goals. I feel
but as in whether it's him scoring the goal or his attacking threat, which just lets someone else score a goal.
Yeah.
He's one of the main reasons why we're such an aerial threat in corners. But yeah, I think every time he versus Haaland now, he absolutely destroys him.
Oh,
Haaland blanks in every single game. Oh my God, I can't believe we don't get
Mbappe. Gabriel would have been.
I can't believe we don't get to watch that Gabriel play against Madrid.
Who's going to play at centre back for you guys?
I hope it's Ben White. And then
I'd take Kiwior over Ben White, man.
I'd much rather Ben White play on the right.
Kiwior played well on the weekend.
Yeah, against Everton. I'm telling you, Jacob Kiwior's not that guy.
Yeah, sure.
It's the reason we want to sell him this year.
We missed out on generational matchup. Rudiger versus Gabriel.
It's unbelievable.
Generational, both
how
ends.
We can't see this.
Probably top 3 centre backs in the world playing.
Because I'm telling you, this would have finally been the game where Gabriel and Saliba sort of do it on a European stage, on a global scale.
This is the European.
This is literally the European stage. No, this is probably the first time we've been in a global spotlight for some years now, because we haven't won the league, we haven't done anything.
This is losing. Barcelona in what year was that? They did smack you about because Messi was still there, but what year was
that? When we got spanked.
Yeah. It was later than that, was it not?
No,
it was Cazorla and them lot, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was later than that. It
Yeah,
was
but
like,
that was the last time I feel like I really thought Arsenal were like a big.
yeah.
Like, you took
I think we lost like 6-1 on aggregate or something. Oh, then
that was like Barcelona were cooking back there. So,
but yeah, so that's such a bummer because he just keeps getting better. It's unbelievable. Nothing more to add to that.
And he's just there. He's consistent. He never drops off. I don't
Unbelievably
think
consistent.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Which that was his only drawback early in his career at Arsenal.
Up and down, yeah.
Was that he had. It wasn't even up and down frequently. It was just the downs were so bad. As in, like, he had such down moments. As in, they were like shocking moments. And people thought his career at the club was done. We'll just say, ship him off. And now all of a sudden, like, the biggest clubs in the world want to sign him. That's just sort of the level he's at now. But, yeah, 27, I mean, he hopefully he comes back from whatever this injury is, the same player, because it's always a bit...
Bad.
Was it hammy?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad.
Okay. I thought it might have been knee. Oh, shit.
No, I think it was hammy.
Okay, that's good. But yeah, nothing more to add. I just think Van Dijk's amazing, but Gabriel just needs like that credit.
That preference. Let's quickly finish these two other games that were big for the weekend. Obviously, you guys drew to Everton, which is a shame because Liverpool ended up drawing.
Yep.
Watched this one live. It was another classic, never back the early kickoff because it was a really dead game outside of two moments. The only thing I want to ask, I don't know if you've seen it, Todd, it's the pen.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Because I don't think
it's never a pen.
I don't think it's a pen, but in the Prem we're living in, I guess that's even Ian Wright said it well. If it's anywhere on the pitch, obviously it's a foul. But in this 2025 Prem, it is going to be a pen because they give the softest penalties.
Well, yeah, I think you've just pinpointed it perfect there. Should it be a pen? No. Under the current Prem rules and precedents based off the last 9 to 12 months, yes, it's a pen.
Yeah.
I still don't agree with that.
It's the learning process from Lewis Skelly, though, because
still don't even agree with that.
Did well, let go. Like, the ref's
holding the shoulder.
It's just never a pen. I don't even think in today's game it's a pen. Like,
in today's game it's a pen. That's the thing.
I think it is.
Well, clearly it is, but it's news to me.
I wouldn't want to give
news to me that was a pen because I swear to God I see that happen 100 times a game.
See, I don't want to
players fall over in the box like that. I don't agree, but look, yeah, Miles or Skelly.
I feel bad for the guy. He's always involved in something.
Yeah, he's having a tough run. A lot of it's his own fault, but like I thought that was pretty stiff. But I guess it's just a learning curve early in his career that he's going to have to learn from. But yeah, other than that, the game was dead.
I'm really disappointed.
We should have probably put a few away in the first half.
Martin looked bloody good though coming on. He's had a good last 4 or 5 games, I feel like.
Yeah, he's looked very good.
Improved. Rested the players, got ready for Champo.
Yeah. Look, it was just a bit of a nothing game.
It was a warm-up game.
The league is like
so far.
It's been done for a month now. It feels like so. When we lost to West Ham, the league was done.
Yeah,
was the way I felt. So, yeah, look, there's nothing to take away from that game other than the fact that hopefully we're ready to go
for the big one.
Tuesday night.
I think it's the first one of the first games. Yeah,
it's Wednesday morning.
And then the other Champions League club who were playing this week, Villa kept flying. They beat Forest, the battle of the two informed teams.
What was it,
2-1? 2-1. Yeah. Again, battle of two halves. First half, Villa were incredible and scored 2. Second half, Forest were ridiculous, only scored 1 goal. Murillo hitting the crossbar right at the end of the game from like 40 yards, he blasting from nowhere, nearly went in. That was probably one of the highlights come second half.
They rested a lot of players as well. Did you see that?
They
rested 8
Maatsen, Disasi played, no Rashford, Asensio played the 10, didn't play McGinn. Tillemans was the only starter I think that played in that game for them.
Yeah.
Basically everyone else rested.
Rogers as well.
Rogers played, as well.
Yeah.
But they rested
obviously Martinez played, but
like that's pretty good for getting a massive win,
they
7 in a row.
Konza, like they rested everyone.
They're going to need a Rashford, like prime, COVID. No, not even COVID.
Well, no, they've got bloody...
They've seen Marco Asensio. I mean, this guy's a baller,
They've got Marco Asensio doing this. They've got Rashford.
Yeah, if Rashford can find his
the aura is
form,
insane.
They could genuinely go far in this.
And it's Unai Emery, bro.
And they've got the easiest.
He's a cup manager as well.
I know. It's Unai. This guy
could win the Champions League. I'm not ruling it out.
Well, he couldn't do it at PSG. Was the only thing and he was a cup manager there, and they obviously had a better squad then at PSG. But
no one can do
it. Ultimate revenge will be in PSG. This week in the champion.
Do you know the ultimate revenge? If they verse us in the final and Unai wins. Imagine that.
That would be the most... What would the odds of that final be? That is got to be the most unpredicted
Is that a possible final? Can you guys verse each other in the semi?
Yeah, we can. I think
no, you're in the semi. You're in the semi.
Oh, I thought we're opposite lines.
I just made double checked. Yeah, because that's the easier side of the draw with you guys, Villa, PSG and Real Madrid. Other side, you've got
easier.
we've got Bayern, Inter, and
Yeah,
Barca,
Bayern,
the big
Inter,
three.
Barca,
I think they're the big three. Like I consider them the big giants of this competition.
Okay, Madrid.
After Madrid.
Madrid is the giant though.
No. But in terms of like best team in Spain right now, in Barca, best team in the Bundesliga.
Madrid win the league.
Madrid's the best team in Spain.
I'm Madrid winning the league.
They're 4 points behind. They lost to
Yeah, but it's
Valencia.
Madrid in the Champions League.
No. But I'm saying the hardest side of the draw. You got Bayern versus Inter in a quarter final. That's ridiculous. Best team in Italy over the last 5 years, taking on the best
Say
team.
PSG already won the league.
Yeah, already won the league. Haven't lost yet.
Unbelievable. PSG already won the league.
Technically,
PSG
the easier
look
side
good,
is the
though.
Real Madrid side.
They look very good.
As I'm saying, if Aston Villa can beat PSG, this is their first proper challenge.
Yeah.
That would say
Interesting.
Oh,
that
I
would
love
say
when
something.
this stage of the Champions League is unbelievable.
This is where I guess we've got
keen.
the best teams. We've got
I
Real
haven't had
Madrid,
a team
Barca.
in this situation for essentially my whole life. You know, like
No lad.
I can't remember. I actually can't
As a
remember.
pro for times like
When was the last time we got out of the round of 16? Mate, I'm telling you,
You were-
even when
you
we
were
were
round of 16
even when we were
merchants.
good, we were out in the round of 16. I have no idea when the last time was. This is unbelievable. We're still going to get battered, right?
And
But
Mbappe's in a cook on the Champions League at the end.
oh, I hope we fucking cook. I hope Saliba just cooks him. I hope
Little French
Bro,
on French.
I need Bukayo to just slap him in. Bro,
Phil-
oh
Phil
my
Land's
god,
gonna
I'm so
fuck it up,
keen.
brother.
I'm so keen.
I'm keen. I love
Marking
I
the
love
beers.
Real in the Champions League. It's always a good watch. All right, let's finish off with a bit of a fun segment in the last 5 minutes here. Favorite duos. So one defensive duo, one midfield duo, one attacking duo. Again, this can be wing back, centre back, centre mids,
Let me
cams.
kick off the defensive because mine's so boring.
Well,
I have
so,
Gabriel and Saliba. Like,
Nice badge on.
I've got the Nottingham Forest duo.
And I went the Bournemouth duo of Zarbani and Hoyson. Best
I'm
young
surprised
centre-back
you didn't do
kind of
Hoyson.
team. Hoyson was close. He started at 10, dropped to 12 for me at the end of it all. Bournemouth haven't won in 6 games.
Yeah, okay.
Defensive.
I've got a trivia one I like.
where did Hoyson come from again?
He was Juve, loaned to Roma,
He was
went
at
back,
Juve,
and then
yeah.
got
He was
sold
at
to...
Juve. Yeah.
And they might buy him back for after all this is said and done, which is crazy. They sold him...
His assist to Yamal in the
How good was
Nations
that?
League was
By the
crazy.
way, this is totally off topic. How good was the Nations League? Did you see any of those games? Like the 4-4s?
I saw
and-
some of the highlights.
I didn't watch.
Yeah,
I watched.
yeah.
I'm not sick. I didn't sit up and watch those games.
I'm not sick.
Sick.
But those were
mental ward.
nuts. Those were crazy. Those games. But yeah, Zarbani, Hoyson, for me, I had to pick those boys in
We'll go midfield one.
midfield.
Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes.
Oh
They're
shit.
hustlers. I respect that. That's
Well,
a really
I
good
went-
pick.
I went Bruno and Joel Linton.
Which one do you prefer?
Tonali's
They're
Tonali-
both Brazilian, mate. Come on, they're both Brazilian.
Yeah, and they're nuts as well. By the
Tonali,
way,
like-
Joel Linton is an animal.
Yeah, come on. The Joel Linton resurgence. The
Striker,
like the
see.
Bruno, like
No, but I love Tonali, though.
raising the cup. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
I thought, yeah, no, valid.
I love Tonali. As a
And
Italian
to be
as
honest,
well.
Bruno and Tonali is more of a pair.
That's more of a combination.
for
isn't
sure.
it?
I was
Yeah.
thinking that, but I just wanted to have like the two sort of like
the green link.
yeah, and they're just like it was like the perfect link actually.
the
Did
perfect.
it? A 10 camp.
It's the perfect link.
Don't need any more links. Get red links around
You
it.
get red. Wow, we're going to our bag now. Wow.
Yeah, no, perfect link. I mean, I just froth that Joel Linton resurgence because I froth Joel Linton as a player, and then Bruno is valid.
Striker left wing, and then
He was
CDM.
striker.
I think
and
he moved to the left. I'm pretty sure they pushed him
Yeah,
like
and then
left
they
wing or
pushed him to the
something.
left, and then
Now he's just a goated
centre mid. He
six,
sort of plays in a little bit still on the left, but like
6,
that is-
8.
yeah,
up
yeah,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
And I rate it. I went even further in my bag. Got the Palace kit on. I went Wharton Hughes, the coldest white boy duo in the
Yeah, that's
Premier
pretty
League.
cold.
So Brexit, but I love it. Like,
how's Warden been playing?
started the year rough, injuries, but his last few weeks, I tell you, FA Cup, cooked Fulham.
Yeah, okay.
And Adam Warden, I love him. He's an absolute shithouse. Man United tried to choke. Who did he try to choke out against Man United a few years back? Oh no, someone tried to choke him. Casemiro tried to choke him
Yeah.
out because he was being a dickhead. I love it. I love it. I love Will Hughes for that. Attackers.
Attackers. So I reckon this now is the best duo of the lot.
Go on.
Asensio Rashford.
Oh, okay.
Bro's gone early.
Oh,
Bro's gone early than these two. The Lone East.
I actually, mate, what is this? I have a Villa one as well.
Oh really?
I have Watkins Rogers.
Oh,
Asensio Rashford's clear.
I'd rather Asensio Rashford.
Bro, Watkins Rogers is so cold.
know,
mate.
Asensio and
Rogers is
Rashford
cold,
assist to
but
each other.
Watkins is
they
like-
assist to each other.
No, I know Watkins has been a little bit mid,
Watkins
but
is
like,
what I said.
no, he's had not a great season. But come on, Watkins and Rogers, like you can't do Asensio and Rashford.
Yeah, but they assist to each other. They
They've
actually
been there.
directly
They've
assist
been
to each
there,
other.
Like
2 months.
2
But it's been the
months.
coldest
Asensio
2 months.
gets 2 goals. Rashford gets 2 assists.
What do you got? You got like breakup Asensio essentially,
And then
you got I don't know,
like a mindset.
homeless Rashford. Like
Feed the kids Rashford.
yeah, like feed the kids. You got
Feed the
legit
kids
feed the
Rashford.
kids
I
Rashford.
haven't heard that one for a while. Like,
What sort of like facial restructure did he have? Like these, have you seen the photos like comparing him?
He got fat, I reckon. He just-
Something's happened now. He's got,
when he arrived, that photo, he looks homeless.
yeah, like
That's what I'm saying. You got homeless
his
Rashford.
chin was like here.
Yeah,
like this.
the beard was cooked.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're good duos.
They're great duos. I love them.
That is a good duo. That.
And I kept I went Mateta and I went Eze. Because fuck.
Yeah, that's good. I like
Palace's
that.
front
I like
line.
that.
That's Barclays.
Tell you what, the level has fallen off that way. I mean, bring back like Sanchez, Ozil. Like, what are we doing here?
Rooney, Ronaldo, fucking like
Yeah, Rooney Ronaldo
Tevez,
is the,
Aguero. Like,
Rooney Ronaldo is the best that's ever been seen.
I can't, but like, I would have even done like Auburn, Lacazette back in the day. There's just none of that.
you know, there's no. I feel like Eze.
Lacazette was
I feel like
very
Eze Mateta's a bit of stretch
Lacazette
right
wasn't
now.
overrated. Everyone hated it. It was lack of threat, mate. That's what the Arsenal fans called him. Lack of threat. Alexander lack of threat is what
That's so
troops used to call
You
him.
know what I want to bring back?
Go on.
Rashi Martial that 1 year.
I keep seeing TikToks about
Yeah,
it.
this is what I mean. Rashi Martial.
That
No,
one,
no.
no, it was
That
only
was
for
cold.
1
That
year.
was cold.
Black
They both
Chester
kicked
United.
That was
19
cold. That was
Premier League
cold.
goals in
Have
the
you seen
same
that?
season.
Manchester United, like Jesse Lingard, Greenwood.
Bro, they were
Pogba.
insane. Bring back
Ashley
COVID
Young.
United.
Seen Pogba sign for a club?
Has he actually?
Yeah.
I thought it was April Fool's.
No, Pogba signed for a club.
What club did he sign for?
I don't know. Some like random.
No, that's April Fool's.
No, it was
bro.
April Fool's.
Don't-
green
actually-
club.
Yeah, it was April Fool's, bro. I swear.
No, don't tell me. Mate, it's April 7th.
I
How
saw
am
this
I
on
saying
I saw this on
April
1st of
Fool's
April.
yesterday?
Okay, mate, check that. But
That's.
by the way, yeah, I
I
keep seeing
just said 5 days ago.
Well, I didn't check the date.
peak United, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood with Lingard and Jesse and Young
yeah.
and Pogba and Matic, mate. Peak.
No way I got done by April Fool's like that.
I'm pretty sure it is. Is it not? Breaking for Slow Sports News.
There's nothing on
Yeah,
it.
it was yesterday, yes.
I got cooked, mate.
You got
That's
cooked by that.
unbelievable.
Pogba gets United next year. Going to cook. Amarim.
You're the Green Club was an MPL club in Melbourne.
Green and white.
that
yeah?
what they were?
Was it green and white?
Was the NPL club?
in Melbourne.
Bro got done in
Wow,
like
Wow, I
Australian
got done.
NPL.
Wow, I
Slow
got
Sports
done.
News.
Wow, I got done.
You
That's what I mean.
That's what you
Yeah.
can expect. It. We're back. That is a great sign that we're back. We're getting
Yeah, yeah,
Pogba
we're
to
back.
NPL
We're back.
clubs. So we're back.
No, I'm being serious, guys. You didn't know? He got signed.
Pogba
No,
signed.
he did.
Can you imagine Pogba?
Fabrizio
landing
told
NPL?
me. Fabrizio told me.
Brits.
Oh my god.
We'll be back again.
Yep.
This is it. We're gonna. We keep saying this is it now.
We try to get the mornings going like a 7 a.m.
Yeah, some unholy times can come back
Something
again.
to absolutely just kill me. Yeah, cheers, boys. Well, I finish work till 12 on a Sunday.
But bro, just coming straight from work, straight there,
Essentially, yeah.
driving. You might as well since you're up that early anyway. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for this coming back. This chaos coming back. We're going to have to make it more chaotic because there's nothing really to talk about.
I know.
We'll pick a few games, but it'll be lists and waffle. I think again.
Yeah, thank God we have like hipster ball knowledge here.
I know.
Otherwise,
I
this
can break
would
it
be
up.
Dead.
I can break it up.
No, it's good. No, otherwise this would be dead. Like he's talking about like Watson and Hughes, mate. I mean, we're talking about the same Newcastle midfielders. Like Jesus.
Asensio and Rashford, leave me alone.
Yeah, no, that's not.
We
bad,
love it.
actually. That's not bad.
Fireside Spotify. We'll see you guys next week. Hope there's some more games to talk about next week. A bit more exciting. See you next time, guys. See you later.